So, are you guys looking for a smartphone that could easily handle every graphic intensive games out there? And without getting heavy on your budget? Well, the Poco X3 Pro got you covered there. Well, as the title says, today we're gonna have a full in-depth review of the Poco X3 Pro. Well, this is Fortune from Juncheck TV, and please stay tuned. Well, I've been using the Poco X3 Pro for a week now, and yeah, it's been amazing. Well, it does have the latest 4G processor out there, which is a Snapdragon 860, and it is the leading 4G processor out there. And it does pack with that Adreno 640 GPU, which supports a lot of elite gaming features from Qualcomm. Now, if we get into gaming, first we start with Mobile Legends, which most players play. We do unlock the high settings, which is the ultra settings. The gameplay is simply smooth and responsive because of that 120Hz screen refresh rate and 240Hz touch sampling rate, which really smoothens out the gameplay and gives you a lot of advantage against other players. And as you can see, we have a 60 frames per second stability right here. And let's get into Genshin Impact. Well, Genshin Impact, we do get the highest settings, but we do get some minor frame drops for obvious reasons. Well, the Genshin Impact is not that optimized. We all know, right? But if you really wanted that smooth 60 frames per second, you do get choose between medium settings and high settings. In medium settings, I do get about 50 to 55 frames per second. At high settings, we do get 55 to 60 frames per second, which is pretty good. Now, bundling up with that cool processor, we do have a 6.67-inch Full HD Plus IPS LCD panel. And yeah, let's have the 395 dpi or dot per inches, and of course the icing on the cake, the 120Hz screen refresh rate plus 240Hz touch sampling rate, which is basically the best combo for gaming at a budget price. Well, we do have the pre-installed screen protector out of the box, and of course our beloved condom case. Yep, it does protect our smartphone out of the box if you're really into that, or you're into the design, right? But at the back we still do get a little bit of bump, which is the camera bump, which is a little bit thick, but once you slap that inbox condom case, well, not just it makes the camera bump disappear, but it saves your smartphone from minor scratches and drops. Well, we do get a relatively thick smartphone, which is 8.77mm, but yeah, it does give you a little bit of security, right? But that thickness doesn't go to waste, because we do have a 5160 mAh of battery that could last for about 2 days of moderate use, or 11 hours of screen on time, which is basically amazing for the price. But of course, we do get a longer time if you're only streaming on social media like Facebook, maybe YouTube, or you're more into content creating. But we do have that 33 watts fast charging inbox that could charge the smartphone for about an hour or 65 minutes, of course. And you do get that awesome Mi turbocharged animation out of the box. And at the back we could see the 48 megapixel Sony IMX sensor, 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, 2 megapixel macro camera, and 2 megapixel depth sensor, which completes the quad camera setup at the back. While in front, we do have a 20 megapixel selfie camera, which has a boatload of features. And yeah, here's my samples. Here I'm running at 1080p at 30 frames per second with the ultra steady on. And yeah, for the price, it is not bad. Well, it does only work on 30 frames per second at 1080p. Well, unfortunately, we only have a hybrid SIM slot, but I do give them a compliment for giving a rubber gasket around that. Well, in that means you only have to choose between two SIM cards or one memory card or one SIM card to put inside the tray. But out of the box, we do have a MIUI 12, which is the latest firmware or software skin from Poco, right? And yeah, out of the box, it is really smooth because of that 120Hz screen refresh rate. And we are running at Android 11, which is the latest Android version right now. And as we scroll into the UI, yeah, it is really smooth because of that 120Hz screen refresh rate. Yep, it is really smooth. Like, what do you call this? Buttery smooth. Yep, it is buttery smooth. And not just that, because MIUI 12 is really optimized. And I almost forgot to mention, there's a lot of features in the gallery, especially like this sky mode. Well, if you have a picture with a sky on it, you can turn it from evening into morning, evening into night. Yep, it is really good, especially if you're into this. And you could also remove the watermark if you didn't remove it by default in the settings of the camera. And I almost forgot to mention is the Z-axis linear motor, which is pretty good. It does give you some crispy feedback at the keyboard and in gaming. Now let's talk about the storage. We have UFS 3.1, 128 or 256 gigs of internal storage, and we do have a LPDDR4 RAM between 6 gigs of RAM or 8. Well, you can get 12,990 pesos for the 6 plus 128 or 15,990 pesos for 8 plus 256 gigs of internal storage. Well, is it really worth it to upgrade? Well, my conclusion would be yes, it is worth it. Yep, it is really worth it. Especially if you're coming from a mid-range smartphone from 2019 like the Redmi Note 9 or Note 9 Pro. Well, it is. But if you're coming from like the Poco Phone F1 or Poco X3 NFC, well, the Poco X3 NFC is the vanilla version. It does have a better camera than this one. But yeah, if you're more in gaming, well, yep, it's really recommended to upgrade. But if you're more into camera, well, just stick into that. But well, if you really wanted to buy this amazing smartphone, I will just leave the link down below from the Shopee or Lazada link. Well, this is Fortune from Chuntech TV signing off. Goodbye everyone.